Conference will now be recorded.
Thank you. We will call to order the Public Safety, Health, and Welfare Committee meeting of May 19th at 7:21 p.m. Present are committee members Broussard and Williamson. Council members scanning the pictures here. Council, Ms. Williamson?
I just received a phone call from Dwayne. He cannot seem to connect to this meeting, so he's calling Chuck now. I just want to let you know that he is attempting to join us. He's just having difficulty.
Thank you. Appreciate that. All right. Well, we still have a quorum. So council members Kelly, Schuman, Glassburn, Heeman, directors Kopfer, Gallo, Glonner, Lieber, the mayor, and looks like we have some phone-in guests as well. So we're here this evening to discuss the city response to COVID-19, specifically what sort of policies have been established at our buildings, City Hall, police, fire, Springvale, etc. Let the record show that Councilman Limpert is also present in the meeting. So I will at this time ask which member of the administration would like to start speaking first. It looks like Mayor Kennedy, you have the floor.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I can speak to Springvale as the one facility that's been open pretty much through the whole COVID. We got a little late start because of the weather, but they're operating under County Board of Health guidelines. So in other words, one person to a cart. Everything's outside, so the outside bathroom's open in the pavilion, and you go get your greens fees down at the pavilion. And again, one person per cart. If I went with my son, I'd be able to ride with my son or a family member. And just people are 6 feet apart. There's no rakes in the sand. There's styrofoam in the holes. So we just, everything we're doing in every location, whether it be City Hall, police station, fire station, is all Cuyahoga County Board of Health guidelines. So let me speak to the rec center. Well, Mayor's Court, I think their first court date, they've had a few OVIs that would come in and we would take care of those OVIs, but the first real court date will be June 4th. So we have the fire department will be checking temperatures. We'll be, I believe we're working on a text plan so we could text and bring 5 people in at a time. And obviously people will be coming in one door, walking out another way, and just avoiding each other. Just again, we're in coordination with the Cuyahoga County Board of Health on how we're doing everything. And also, while I have the floor, I mean, the rec center will be reopening. The governor had said that there's a date set for pools and fitness centers. So we'll be opening the fitness center on June 1st and the pool sometime after that. And again, we're following the guidelines of the County Board of Health. I mean, we'll probably, we'll definitely be taking temperatures of people that come in. Probably half the equipment will be closed down to space people out. And as it is at the rec center, it's a lot of people to have 50 people up in the fitness center, and generally speaking, it's 20 people. So we're not like overly packed to where we got to, really worry about it. But if it gets too crowded, we will take care of that issue. And again, I don't know what I don't know what to expect, whether a lot of people are going to show up or whether hardly anyone's going to show up, but we're just going to see how things go and keep with our plan. And then if we need to adjust that plan, we will. And I'll turn it over to Don or anyone else that you want to talk to, or if you have any questions.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Before we do that, I want to point out that I failed to mention that Council President Jones is and has been present at this meeting. I have some other questions, but I'm going to open it up first to committee members, and then I'll circle back to myself. Any committee members have any questions or comments? Councilwoman Williamson?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mayor, has it been discussed about how the rec center plans to even, you know, sanitize any of the equipment, and will there be extra staff there to clean off the equipment after people use it? Or I mean, are the stations going to be set apart so many feet so people maintain that social distancing of 6 feet? I mean, has that
Yeah.
even been discussed yet?
Oh, yeah, it has. Let me first of all say that Betsy is involved with, she's in communication with the rec center people that are down in Columbus. So they have someone actually at DeWine's office that they communicate with on how to reopen this. So chances are, as far as treadmills go, we'll close down every other treadmill, and then the ones they were using that day, we'll close those ones down and open up the other ones the next day. And as far as the fitness center goes, there's tons of cleaning supplies, and every person cleans up after themselves even before this. We will have extra people cleaning, you know, everything that could be touched, bathrooms, banisters, whatever people will normally touch. So we'll, I mean, the best thing I could tell you is to come out there maybe and inspect it if you wanted to come out there the first couple days, just kind of check and see. And if you have any advice, that'd be great. But I mean, they're following the guidelines of, you know, the state health boards and the Cuyahoga County Health Board. So go ahead.
Okay, Angela, a follow-up?
Yes, I'm going to circle back to Mayor's Court, if I may.
Yeah.
Today, the county justice center came down with rules for how we're going to operate when we open up court. They're going to have us keeping a log of all the persons that enter the courtrooms. In the event that there is, God forbid, cross-contamination and someone ends up positive for COVID, so they can backtrack people who may have been exposed. Is there any kind of plan in place to do that at City Hall with a sign-in sheet that will be maintained, so you can go back and track people who may have been in the building at a certain time?
Yes, there will be a sign-in sheet. We'll have their cell phone numbers, so we will be able to track these people. And I'll make sure that we keep those lists, you know, for however long we deem, you know, whether it be a month or however long we think is necessary.
Thank you.
Thanks, Angela. Councilman Limper?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Just one comment again on the rec center and cleaning. The mayor's right. That is, all those cleaning supplies have been there and are typically there. I would encourage us to have some kind of policy that's communicated when people come back in about, I don't want to call it a 3-strike rule, but some kind of policy for people they forget or fail to do so on a number of occasions, that there's some sort of action that the department can take to make sure that those individuals aren't still going there if they're failing to clean after themselves.
Yeah, I could just tell you that Betsy and Chris are taking this very seriously, and that they will be monitoring people, make sure that everyone's cleaning up after themselves, you know, making sure that everything's clean in the fitness center and pool.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor. Dwayne, did you have anything else?
No, not at this time. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. So I wanted to thank you. I wanted to circle back. We've spoke at length about the rec center and Springvale. We touched a little bit about City Hall, and I also wanted to ask about the police station and our fire stations as well. So, you know, what kind of procedures and policies have we implemented or are currently in place at those facilities as well? Who would like to speak?
Don,
Director Glonner, go ahead.
Thank you. At the fire station, it's locked down. Fire stations are not open to the public, just like City Hall and the service department. They're not open to the public. We have a full-time custodian that cleans down there each day. They have separated everybody from eating all at the same time. They have them maintaining socialized distances all day during the day. Police department, most of the officers are on the road. They have limited number of staff. We're staggering the secretaries at the police station. No one's permitted in the dispatch area. They have masks. Right now, the PPE we have are gloves, masks, disposable masks, the N95 masks, goggles, sanitary wipes, sanitizer for spray. We have gowns, face shields. So all the equipment is in place for both places. At the police station, of course, it's always locked down. You can only go into the lobby. The lobbies are cleaned several times a day. The jailer was brought back yesterday, Monday, yesterday the jailer was brought back to also help maintain the jail area. We still are not taking prisoners unless they're violent prisoners or DUIs overnight. Anybody that's brought in, all their temperatures are taken. We are utilizing the female side of the jail cells because there are fewer cells to maintain. And fortunately, we haven't had any females in at this time. And again, as we move forward and we start opening up and we start, processing people through the courts, we'll start bringing people back in. But again, we will sanitize everything as we go along. The fire stations, we've ordered 2 automatic sanitizers. They're UV light sanitizers that once we arrive, you'll be able to put them inside the medic units and sanitize it each time. You don't have to take the equipment out and wipe everything down like we do now, but we will sanitize those. All the cruisers, Z-BART Corporation here on Lorraine Road has volunteered to clean all of our vehicles and sanitize them as often as the officers need it. So the officers themselves wipe them down before going on shifts, or are told to wipe them down before they go on shift, and are supplied all the equipment, and then they can take it over to Z-BART at any time to clean the inside of the car and have it sanitized. We've also ordered as I mentioned last week, the electrostatic sprayer. It'll be utilized in City Hall and anywhere else at the city that we need. We already have the chemicals on hand to do that. For the City Hall itself, once we go back to opening City Hall and we have more committee meetings there, we are going to assign a service department staff member to afternoon shift alone. We have 2 members on the day shift that do the cleaning first thing in the morning, and then throughout the day, wiping things down, door handles, all the bathrooms and everything else a couple times a day. And then once we go to opening City Hall and having after-hour meetings, we're going to assign a service worker to work afternoon shifts, and that will be that person's primary function, just to continue to clean. Before, after meetings, during mayor's court and so on, we are going to put markings on the floor for 6-foot distances, and we're going to have an area roped off. And as the mayor said, when they come to mayor's court, they'll come in one door and go out the other. We're not going to have all the doors open so that they can just wander anywhere they want to go.
All right. Thank you, Director Glonner. Very detailed. I appreciate the info. You actually answered without me having to ask many of the questions that I had in advance of your commentary. So at this time, I'll open it up to the rest of council for questions or comments. Ms. Heeman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mayor, could you tell me, do we have, I don't think that we have a policy at the rec center for indoor shoes and outdoor shoes. What I mean is that some workout facilities do not permit you to wear your street shoes, while using the equipment. So I did notice, sometimes when I would go there in the wintertime, that people would come in with slush and salt all over their shoes. And then, of course, our treadmills had salt on them. And not that I was concerned then, but with COVID-19, I was wondering if, that can be a recommendation, or if you could ask Ms. Strunsky to at least inquire about it on our behalf.
Councilwoman Heeman, yeah, I will do that. I don't believe we have a policy on that, but I will look into that, and I will have her. I will ask her to ask the people in Columbus what they think about that policy, and I'll get back to you. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions or comments from Mr. Glonner? Can somebody let Mr. Glonner know with a hand signal that he's muted? There we go. Yes,
All right.
I can hear you now.
Okay, yeah. Any other questions? No. The Director Gallo has also secured a sufficient number of no-touch thermometers so that every department has a thermometer. We'll have them for the mayor's court. We have them for every department in the city, and they're monitored at least twice a day, taking their temperatures in the morning and once again in the afternoon.
All right, thank you for that additional information. Councilwoman Williamson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Director Glunner, are the staff going to be tested prior to them entering the building, or are they only going to be tested when they get to their desks
Tested for what?
with the thermometers?
Oh, when the service department employees and the police department employees and the fire department, when they come into work in the morning, they take their temperature, they sign a log, and it indicates the time and date and that their temperature is under 100.3. We do not ask them to put down their temperature because we don't want to get into a HIPAA violation. We just monitor that they are at least under what is the CDC guideline of at least 100.3. And as long as it's below that, they don't have a temperature that we have to worry about. Then they take it again at the lunchtime when they come back in again. So you do it at the beginning of the day and once halfway through the day.
Okay, so you're having the staff just take their own temperatures, so no one's doing it as additional verification. So it's just like an honor system, if you will.
But when they come in the morning, everybody's there and sees it. We just don't have them write it down. But no, we don't.
Okay.
We don't have taken everybody's individual temperature.
Okay, so again, the staff where is this going to be set up? I mean, my concern is that, you know, if someone is a carrier or has been infected, you know, they're walking through the building or wherever they go, or walking through an area where there are multiple people to test themselves, and, you know, it should be done before they even pass through an area of people. Wouldn't you agree? Or am I misunderstanding how this is going to be set up?
The general public, if we're having the general public, we're going to be monitored before they come into our building. But our employees kind of monitor themselves. Some of the companies that we had coming take their temperatures before they're even allowed to come to the building. We don't see their temperatures. But when anybody that comes into our building from the outside, anybody that comes in from the outside, we do monitor. We will be monitoring their temperatures.
Okay, but my question is, why are we allowing the staff to pass through the lobby, pass through the hallways, get to their respective departments, and then have them have their temperature taken? That should be done at the entrance of the building. I mean, you don't want people to walk through with a potential, you know, as a potential carrier. Wouldn't it make sense if we tested the employees at one entrance of the building daily before they walk through?
We have not had a problem. Again, we don't have it open to the city hall yet, and that's something that's still being discussed how we're going to open. As in the service department, when we first started, we would stand there and take everybody's temperature. But then as they come in and go throughout the building, we've allowed them to take their own temperatures. I guess that's something that we can discuss if you know, we don't trust them enough to take care of or put down, you know, their right temperatures and stuff.
It's not about trust. It's, you know, we should have somebody there to do this, whether it's a medical professional or somebody with that kind of background who can take their temperature, who knows what questions to ask, and can be screening the staff before they walk into the building, as well as anyone coming into the building. I want to make sure that once we open that, and I'm sure this is the rest of everyone else's concerns, but, you know, I don't want to see anyone in the building possibly end up with something that we could have potentially prevented.
Mr. Chairman?
Who's speaking?
It's
Oh,
Marie.
yeah. Thank you, Director Gallo.
Yes. If I may, Councilwoman Williamson, to address your question and concerns. So, and I think I understand what your question is. So as we begin to open, so far we're looking at starting Mayor's Court in the first week of June, and also with the rec center opening up, we are discussing, and we've decided, the mayor has decided, you know, to have somebody taking temperatures before these people come into the building. But we have limited staff in the building right now, but if I'm understanding you correctly, you are asking, once we open, will there be somebody not only taking temperatures of the public, but also somebody, I mean, even before any employee comes into the building, regardless, you're asking if someone will be taking temperatures, correct? Once we open City Hall?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, Director, thank you. And to be
okay.
more clear, would it be one entrance? So other entrances into the building would be closed off and that everybody would be, you know, subjected to go through that screening process?
Yeah, so that's still part of the discussions that we're speaking to the mayor about, but it would make more sense. So for example, in Mayor's Court, we will have people coming in one door and then not letting them go out that door because we don't want them coming into contact with anybody. We'll have them leaving in a separate door. So that's something that we're going to do. Right now, the City Hall lobby is closed completely and employees are only using the side entrance to come in. So more than likely, if we decide to have somebody taking temperatures and once we talk through this, I mean, there may be some entrances that are closed down. Because right now we're operating kind of like that right now, just with the staff that we have in here. We're trying to keep people work remotely as possible. We're still trying to comply with the state recommendations and requirements.
Thank you.
But that's not out of the, I mean, it's not out of the question. I mean, we're still discussing, and so as we're starting to open, we are having someone take temperatures. I guess that's the best way, depending on, I mean, it's Mayor's Court and Rec Center.
Angela, are you all set?
I just asked that perhaps, you know, we're kept in the loop if it wouldn't be too difficult to let us know what the decision is on how you plan to reopen the building come June.
I'm going to defer to the mayor.
Councilman Williamson, we absolutely will keep you informed. And if you have like any advice for us too, or anyone has any suggestions, we're more than happy to take those into consideration. I will also add, while I have the floor, that also the fire department, when they're taking temperatures, will be asking the right questions as they come into Mayor's Court. So thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mayor. Actually, you kind of took the words out of my mouth. I was going to suggest that because it sounds as though Councilwoman Williamson is very comfortable with how things are being handled in her workplace at the courts. So perhaps you can share some of the things that are being done there with members of the administration, just as a suggestion. Okay.
I'm not quick on these, but thank you. Yes, of course.
Terrific. Okay. Are there any other questions or comments? Going once? Okay, so it sounds like we're all set. So at this time, I'll close the Public Safety, Health, and Welfare Committee meeting at 7:45 p.m.